Alright, so gonna do an update, some other things that I've found out, some issues that I've run into, could be because I've done things a little bit further down incorrectly, or I'm not sure. But I'm going to go over where I'm at. I found some more features the package source has that I'm going to try out after I'm done. We're just going to try out on the archivers first after I'm done doing all my runs. Right now I'm doing mail, and I'm just kind of picking these things at random, except I'm avoiding develop on purpose to do that last. My package count, although this isn't completely up to date because I haven't done a package info in a little while, probably actually could do a somewhat of a package info, couldn't I? Just go in database directory, boot home package, var db package. Let's see how many it says are in there. Yeah, it's more than 600. Anyway, the number, just rough, it's within 20. I'm somewhere around 2987, and there's been almost a permanent difference of about 18 packages that are not showing up in package info, but currently have packages for them. I've been able to identify 4 packages that won't install because it's a duplicate of something else or there's an incompatibility. And I've gotten rid of the duplicates that I know of, but there's still 18 more that I haven't identified, which isn't that big of a deal, but so at least I know my counts are somewhat close. Where there are duplicates, the percentages in each category might be slightly overstated unless it's one of the smaller ones. But on those, I know there's no duplicates in those. That's easy to see. Of course, on a lot of these, I haven't done an analysis yet, but I got a rough idea of what was going on the ones that I did. Of course, they're the major dependencies that I'm purposely waiting on before I proceed. And in addition to that, there's some issues either with headers that I haven't installed yet, or they don't exist, or the header doesn't define a reference, or something goes undefined when the package tries to compile. And we're talking about packages of ages of all ranges here. We're talking about, last count, 11,799 packages to attempt to do. And I'm going to go over a few things that I did to kind of hurt myself. So, and some of these things are just basic package source stuff. So I finally eventually did a run through the package tools system, and in the meantime, I had, just for curiosity's sake, I've activated a writable user directory, and I added a local subdirectory in my home directory. And in the user boot environment script, I have it creating a symbolic link from user to boot home user, and so when programs try to write to user, it can't. I also hope to not forget to talk about Python, in as much that I started to do a vanilla Python compile last night. Just started without any patches either. And by vanilla, what I mean is I'm not using any of the package source injections, or add the network library, get rid of the math library, none of that stuff. And I saw that Python started to write to the user local directory, but of course I didn't go about getting it to. I didn't do anything to configure it to act any differently. It found the user local directory, so it wrote there. But the major observation that I made was that I wasn't seeing much of a change in behavior as far as Python being a success or not. This is Python 27 when compiling, just because the user local directory was now there and writable. So it actually didn't make a difference. And I remember that when I did finally have my successful compiler with the files, I just simply, copy into the directory and overwrite the existing files or create new ones where I do. I distinctly remember not really doing much. I didn't go and I didn't hunt down every single file in the in the Python directories to make sure none of them had user local in it. When I had my success, I've tried that at one point, actually, and I've also noted in the past that the lack of hard links isn't causing the modules to not build. What was causing the modules to not build? Well, at least in part, because, and I may just do a vanilla build here. I do know that the reason why they weren't building was because of the tests that were, the PYOs and PYCs weren't building because of the tests that were failing. I did notice that copying some of the headers into the modules directory helped somewhat, but it didn't resolve everything. So it's just a combination of all the things that I did that it's still been difficult for me to identify exactly everything I did there. That caused me to have as much success. So I didn't have complete success, but I'm pretty damn close to it. In Python 34, it was pretty, just 2 modules didn't build. Also, there's some other features in package source, and so I'm going to go over some things that you could actually use to help. Even in Haiku's case, at least possibly help. I mean, I have a theory right now that, maybe something's going on with the headers and that's why these things aren't compiling. But I'll be able to actually see if that's true or not when I activate a feature in package source. Also, I'll go over another package to avoid if you're using package source and you've bootstrapped. Actually, there are two features you could actually use. The package source will provide that come in the package tools directory, but there's one danger with all that, and I guess I'll just start with that. So, at this stage, my plan is just to go through all 39 categories that I've chosen to try to compile apps in. I really haven't left anything out. The other ones are just like configuration directories and stuff like that in package source. There may be a few. That I'll look at again to see whether, well, maybe I should have done that. But for overall, okay, that's too much detail. But so finally, yesterday I got to the day before yesterday, past couple days, I get to the package tools category, and in the package tools category, and I didn't look to see how many were there, but it doesn't matter. In the package tools category, wrong directory, gotta wake up here. In the package tools category, there are, I should have just looked at my chart, 64 available packages. And every one of these directories, there's always a CVS directory and a make file, and so when I look, it says there's 66 items. You subtract the 2, and there's 64. Just for curiosity's sake, 44 of the 64 successfully compiled, but that also included the package install package. I'm kind of confused as to why that's there, but if you cd into the package install directory in package tools and you do make install, it'll actually install the package. It'll show up on the package list, whereas before you actually have package install, package admin, all the basic package managing binaries for package source installed when you bootstrap. But when you do it from within the package tools directory, what ends up happening is it'll recreate those binaries, and initially it actually put those in user package sbin, and that was okay. It didn't really hurt my system under those circumstances. It had it in a different area, so if I'd called those binaries, it would actually look in a different package database. But I was trying to clean up the user directory before I was going to look at Python. I've done a dry run of it, and I know what'll happen in general except for one thing. So that's why I'll do another run of it tonight, just to go over it. Maybe I'll be able to wrestle out. I probably should do a separate video to just try to wrestle out what the actual answers are, or parts of them are. But tonight I'll just go over, just so people can see that even though I have a writable user local directory, it still is behaving the same way without it. But getting back to the package tools, I ended up taking, oh well, these are newer. I just copy them into the boot home package sbin directory, overwrite the old ones because I just want the new stuff. Wrong. Okay, so those binaries, in fact, the original binaries and the ones I copied over, they both had different paths to check for the package database contents embedded in the binary. There's no outside configuration file that it seeks advice from as to where the package database is. These just, well, they got it directly encoded inside the binary itself, and so then I ran package info and it said I had one package. And that one package was package install, and I go, oh shit, what happened to my database? And I looked, it was still there, and I still had a run going, and I saw that when something went install, it would actually add a directory into the package database directory that is located in boot home package var db package, I believe. So and then I realized that the old paths for package add and package delete were still in paths in the open terminal, but if I had stopped the terminal and restarted it, it would start installing these packages to the new database, which was actually located in the var directory that comes with Haiku. There's a var directory, so it was putting it where it wanted it to go. Basically, once I had the user directory, package source could actually go everywhere it actually wanted to go to start with. And or naturally, and package source is NetBSD's package manager, or at least a major component of it. And that's where NetBSD wants package source to go, right in the user directory, at the root of the file system. So what I did to overcome this is I actually went in and I renamed the package directory that's in my home directory, and I also have a backup of just all the package source make files and scripts and all that. What I'll do is after I do a run, I'll just delete the category and I'll copy my backup back into the package source directory for that category. and that way I don't run out of space. It's a lot quicker than making clean, but it still takes a while. So for example, here's one that's going right up for databases. But I'm able to keep the disk space down because that's the major issue. What's going on with my... What is your mailer called? What's this thing? Procmail. Is this Procmail? Any? Or is it Sunmail? Sorry about that. I'm just right in the middle of this. Okay, I guess it's... What is my mailer called? I don't have a mailer. Alright, so press enter and it goes. Alright, back to this. So basically, yeah, so let's go back. So if you make the mistake of installing package install on your system, you can recover from this. You didn't lose all your packages. They're still there. It's just that and if you happen to overwrite your original binaries like I did, and you want to get your stuff back, you have to rename the existing PKG directory. That's the least way I've done it. It's located in boot home. I got a boot home package, so rename it to something else. I call it package 2. And then I bootstrapped. I used my backup system to bootstrap with. I renamed that package source, and I renamed the package source directory something else. And then when it was done creating a package directory and it had the binaries that I wanted, package admin, package info, package delete, package add, I just then selected those and copied them back into the renamed sbin directory within package, or the sbin directory within the renamed package directory, overwrote those, and then reverted back to where it was. So then, the package directory was once again package, and the new package directory I called package 2, stashed that away somewhere so I have it for, future use, and rename my package source directory back to what it was, and rename the backup back to number 2, and then everything's okay. Package info ran well. And now on my package list, I actually have a package for package install, where I didn't before. When you bootstrap, you don't get that in the package list. I actually have a package for package install, but of course that package actually wants to go to the user directory rather than. But I'm not, I'm going to use bootstrap. I'm not going to use package install. But that's the NetBSD setup. And I found a couple other, while I was trying to figure out what had caused this issue. I went and I looked at some of the descriptions of some of the packages that I'd actually successfully compiled. And there were 3 that I thought were very interesting and or important. One I thought would be very useful for at least testing out my theory as to whether we're having problems with the headers or not. I've used my own specs, but I haven't felt confident enough just to start trying to modify headers and thinking things are going to be okay. One of the packages that package source provides in the package tools directory is called compat_headers. And its description basically says This package attempts to resolve deficiencies in system headers by providing missing types. Now, the word deficiencies is in context with compile success and failure, not POSIX. You know, another point of view may be that those deficiency fixes are actually deficiencies themselves. But I'm not going to worry about that, because my aim is not to be POSIX compliant. My aim is to have as many applications compile as I can. So I'm going to use this. I haven't turned it on yet. I'm going to wait until I get everything built, and then I'm going to go back with this. And the option to use, you have to compile this thing called, this package that is called compat_headers. And then, and I haven't even tried it yet, so I don't know if it's effective at all. And then you have to edit your mk.conf directory, the one that controls package sources behavior, with the exception that it does not control package admin, package add, package delete, and all those things. It does not control the behavior of those. Those are built into the binary. But in this case, to use the headers, you just put, just go ahead and look at boot home package. I have it commented out right now. This thing, fix system headers equals yes. I have it commented out, so it's not activated yet. Pound sign to the left means it's commented out. It won't work. At least in shell scripting. So, and that's what package search does. So I guess I was building something called ELM. I've used ELM before, actually. Oh no. Guess it didn't really. Guess it didn't work. Guess it died at the last minute because I tried to inject the library network in the make file and it just went. Well, I'll know. Oh yeah, and another thing I wanted to point out is that some things that I do to help myself get more packages built cause some of the packages to fail. On the balance, my hacks in the make.conf file help more than it hurts. But basically on the Python builds, anything that's a Python module, and some of the builds that use AC local and the M4s and things like that, they don't like that injection of library network. It doesn't like the specs being passed on, especially in the Python sub builds. So I've actually turned the specs off. I've actually turned those off. Okay, the second set of so I'm going to try this out. I'm going to try to fix the headers, or for the purpose of building, I'm fixing them. For purposes of POSIX purity, I'm not fixing anything, right? But our goal is to have an operating system people can use, because that's my goal, not POSIX, so I'm going to do this. The next feature, two others actually. There's this isn't that big of a deal. It's called there's a NetBSD compatibility library you can build. I actually don't know if I built that. Would kind of be good to know, and I was just thinking, what if it turns everything into NetBSD binary? I doubt it will. So I built that actually, and then I haven't used it yet. Don't know what how it works, but maybe it will actually allow me to compile things that normally would only run in NetBSD. Not sure. Haven't explored it yet, but I'm interested. Especially if it provides some Linux compatibility, that would be awfully nice. Or some of these other compatibility with some of these other operating systems. I can whip out my old WordPerfect 6 for Unix and run it in Haiku and have a party. I can't even get that to run in Linux. So. But if I learn how to do it here, I'll know how to do it in Linux. Then the last one is you can actually... Diger's actually done this. I didn't know what... He had a setting. I didn't know what it was for. There's a package called... Oh yeah, let's just pause for a second here. Okay, so with reference to Diger, if I come up with anything that's correct, give the credit to Diger. If I come up with anything that ends up being incorrect, that's me. Okay, because I could tell the guy knows a lot more than I do. So, let's just get back to this. So there's a package called where are we? Package tools. And something called RC Subder. I built this. This seems kind of neat. If I want to have, if I want to implement the RCD system on Haiku, I could do that. Okay, so you know, I was scratching my head. How am I going to get Library X11 to run in here? You know, how am I going to do that? Well, maybe I could just use the, you know, I know how to use a initd to get things to start. I like that. So I'm not sure how well or how appropriate any of the stuff is. It could be perfectly appropriate, or it might not be. I just don't know if, you know, if I put, say, Apache in the boot, the user environment script to get it to start it. Is that right? You know. So this will be one of possible several options that I could use to get services to start up when I get this thing going. There's some other ones here too, I guess they're worth mentioning. There's something called that I built here. DF disk. And what this one does is it somehow, let's use their own words, I guess. Just as a utility that adds extra function, it allows you to fetch disk files from multiple locations. So basically, if you know, just CD-ROM. Now, getting back to the Mesa library, we don't have. First of all, I haven't even tested out to see whether Haiku could read a CD-ROM in here. I know it could read the VirtualBox guest editions, but I haven't actually stuck a CD in there to see if I can mount it. I know that when I stick USB sticks in it, it's not going. But it does go in Windows, so it's not VirtualBox. Except the fact that maybe the VirtualBox guest editions aren't up to date. Okay. That could be it. But I could make I know how to make disk images. And so if I wanted to, I could, if I knew how to do that, if I knew how to get package source just to download all the source code of everything I was going to try to compile and put on this little or giant whatever size CD image that I had, that might be useful, especially if I wanted to reformat Mesa. Right now, the issue with Mesa is that it was zipped up with hard links embedded in the tar command. So when it untars, it tries to, and the version of tar that's at least package source is using is doesn't seem to be able to accept, or I don't seem to be able to get it to use the option to unzip that tar file and not have hard links embedded in it. I do have the source for Mesa, but it's Mesa 10, not the version of Mesa that Pack Source wants to use. So I'll look into it and see if this is something I want to do. So what it does, it tries to get it from the CD. If it doesn't get it from the CD, then it falls back to the database. There's some other package that actually, for developers, that actually helps you create CDs. You got all sorts of stuff in here. Here's a package called, I don't know if I built it or not, distBB, that you can have several different machines going at the same time, ultimately working towards one set of packages. That's kind of nice. If you want to build bot, you know, the structure's there. Then what's this? There's converters. You could change a package source binary into a FreeBSD binary. Make a sandbox. What does this do? A small shell script to set up a sandbox used for package bulk build using null mounts. Not sure what that means exactly, but some people like to sandbox. Package kit. What's this thing? God, this package kit, what it tries to do is unify all the various package managers that are out there, with package source being the glue. That's not the one. There was one that makes CDs. You can actually make CDs, and I want to find that one. I know I've built it. Package source even has a Dewey Decimal System Perl module. What's this rolling replace thing? That seems interesting. CD pack. That's what it's called. The package is called. So let's go into that one. And of course, let's just back up for a second. Just because I have, okay, anyway, you don't have to have a physical CD to make a CD image. See, right? You know, we download CD images before we install Haiku in the first place. So CD pack basically will it'll actually put all the binary packages. It'll burn it to disk or an image. There's algorithms to make sure things don't get duplicated and stuff like that. That's, you know. So conceivably there could be you can just download this image of all the compiled packages and not have to have them download. Thought that was kind of neat. And a long time ago, it would have been like real sweet. some of these I really haven't looked at all that much. Alright, so what is it going to be? A Python. I was going to do a Python build with a local directory shown. And I'll just go over in summary what happened last time I did a video. I didn't end up loading it up because I just thought it just took too long. I didn't get to my point quickly enough. And yesterday I was gonna try to also talk about using package config somehow to handle the math library like the pthreads library is handled. I've already hinted at that. I've already tried it on camera and I haven't had success at all. So it's not really all that worth going into. Guess I have another solution here that I haven't. Anyway, I gotta get things a little more organized. But, well, yeah, so my trash is empty. I guess I could make some more room, too. First, I gotta go back into that one. Sorry. So hopefully I was at least somewhat clear about recovering from building package install. You don't want to do that. If you bootstrap, don't compile the package install, but if you've done that, you can recover. You just have to rebootstrap and you have to move your other stuff out of the way and copy your binaries back. Then next thing we went over was that there are some pretty neat additional features that package source can provide if you wanted to venture into the package tools category and build those. Just avoid package install. Then I was going to just pretty much demonstrate what I was saying earlier, that the presence or absence of the user local directory itself, in and of itself, I haven't seen that it actually changed the behavior of the way Python 27 built, and so far I haven't seen that the BFS's, where I thought before it was BFS's missing hard links was causing the modules to not build. That was not right. They built, the culprit was the contents of a file called test_unicode.py that was in the JSON directory. Now, I haven't gotten rid of what I was working with last night. I haven't cleaned out the language category yet, using my more manual make clean method of deleting and copying a backup copy back into the folder. And the one thing I didn't do last night, and the behavior still was pretty much the same, was clean the test_unicode.py directory. But if I start now, you won't know where I was to start with, and so I want to start basically clean. I'm going to explain what I'm going to do. I'll explain the only change the package source makes when it fetches the Python 27 source and expands it and then stops there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the work directory. I'm going to do a vanilla compile. And then as errors come up, deal with them as I had, and I'll be a little more gradual with the magic steamroller, and I'll try to remember exactly what it is I've done. And a lot of the cases, and a lot of the time, I've actually just applied various patches from various stages of the history of patching over at Haiku ports. The only difference, though, and I came to the conclusion last night that it was preliminary until I make a change to the test Unicode PY file, was that the major issue I was having at that point was that it still wanted the math library, and I'm not used to anything I compile wanting the math library anymore. That's resolved. It's one simple entry in the make.conf file. It passes anything that wants to look for the math library, gets set it out before the compile starts in the build link directory. Of course, doing it vanilla, I don't have that that feature. And there's a lot of different config scripts and parts and stuff like that that exist, but I guess I'll try to do all my patches before that came from Haiku ports before I and I'll explain the ones also that I've done and what I've done. Some of the changes I've made are derived by other changes that were made to Haiku ports. I may have a few just flat out hacks and slashes. I know with the test Unicode PY file that I do a hack and slash. Now, to explain what my perception of what happens, because this is until I do an intense trial and error, narrow it down set of exercises, which could take a week for me. I don't know for sure, but I have a theory is what's going on, and whether it proves out or not, I don't know. So, it's not the absence of the user directory. It's not the file system's inability to have hard links. I do know that the makefile was a very important component of my very major part of my success. And it was more important than searching out references to user local in in every file and getting rid of them. And in some cases, it does matter whether you use the user local or not. Also, since I already have when it ends up, here's a lot of things to talk about before I start doing this. I have to pick a place for this course to land, and I already have a good installed Python set up in my boot home package directory. I don't have write access. I wouldn't have write access unless I was using Haiku Porter to the system directory. I would have access to my own boot home non-packaged directory, as the root is, like the base of where Python wants to compile. Since that's probably the most appropriate way to go, let me see if I got anything in there first of all. Boot home config non-packaged. A lot of directories in here with questions whether anything's in here except for the VirtualBox mouse. So nothing's going to go into the add-ons. Nothing in the bin directory. Data as it was, include as it was. Now these I copied in, and I'll tell you, if there's no other solution, then that's just what you do. The terminal will run, and for some reason it keeps wanting to find both versions of library Python while it runs. And so to get the errors to go away, I just copied those in there. It's a complete aside. And another complete aside is that when I had my system breakdown, I noticed that some things actually wrote to the system directory. It was very strange. Ended up in non-packaged. Now maybe this is writable. Is this writable? Okay, this is writable, but you have to have the shift key down. What I'm not going to find it. I noticed that some things had written to one of these directories in the system. I didn't expect it to be there. Anyway, so I'm going to decide. I'm actually, I'm going to do this to user local so people can see that it's still demonstrating the same behavior without the user local. So I'm going to do it to user local to start with. Of course, any difference that would remain if I have success is getting rid of the user local. And I may do a whole other video without the user local there, but this is just to show that it's not changing the behavior. So basically, boot home user is the same thing as user local. You can't just create a user directory. You have to actually modify your boot home config settings boot user boot script file. You have to add ln-s tilde usr, which means home user. You're basically making a symbolic link from boot home user to the base of the file system at user, and it works. So that's how you get around that. Now the next script below it, I've added this little bootup.sh thing, and I thought this would be just more for purposes of humor and less for a real proposition. I thought that maybe the following song that will take 30 seconds to start would be, in fact, I might just play it, would be a good startup script. Basically, putting that there causes, every time I root into Haiku, it'll play this song, but since the media server takes about 30 seconds to start that I found, the only way to get it to play completely is to wait 30 seconds after the thing boots up to play. So let's just do this one. So this will be the song that this is my guess joke proposal of what song to play when Haiku first boots up.
Share and enjoy, journey through life with a plastic boy. Move down by your side, let your pal be your guide. And when it breaks down or starts to annoy, or cries when it moves and gives you a joy, cause it digs at your hat, or it sex with your cat. Let oil on your wall, or ripped off your door, and you get to the point you can't stand anymore. Bring it to us, we won't give a fig, we'll tell you.
Okay, so if you didn't understand the last part of that, or what the song is actually from, the song's actually from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And the last words in this is go stick your head in a pig. And there's some complicated storyline that basically, that's the theme song of some complaint department for some corporation in some future scenario in which the computers have taken over the world. I don't know exactly what it is, but okay, done with that. So, I mean, there's been discussion about theme songs, so what the hell, I just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents. Okay, so I'm going to make a local directory. And just so everybody could see that this actually works. CD user local, but you'll be able to actually see, yeah, there it is. But you'll also be able to see that Python will populate that directory when I do my vanilla build. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have package source download the source and extract it and put it in the work directory. Once I go into the work directory, there's a Python directory, and inside that is the unzipped source pretty much the way it was supposed to be, except for 3 of the files have a 2.7 slapped onto the end of it, because apparently package stores can detect that I already have Python 34 installed and therefore it doesn't want to create a conflict. I'm going to rename those just to Python, or whatever they are, without the 2.6 or 2.7 slapped on the end. I don't know. What I'm going to do for curiosity right now. What I'm going to do for curiosity right now is I'm going to make, okay, fine. I'm going to go over, let's just do this vanilla. So what I have to do is I have to go into the Python 27 and make clean. And making clean outside of the work directory deletes all the source. Just starts over from scratch. And I'm still in the root directory, so what happened? Yes, uncoordinated. I didn't do go first, that's why. Okay, what's going on here? CD language Python. Alright, bmake clean. I'm going to do bmake extract. Gets the source, downloads it, extracts it. I'm going to rename the 3 files. Then I'm going to do a make. It's going to fail. But I'm going to do a native make. I'm not going to do make from package source. I'm going to change into the directory. In fact, no, I'm not going to do a make. I'm going to do a configure first. That's what it was. So what I'm going to do is first thing I'm going to put in there are the configure files with all the changes that literally have been made to all the configure files, in the entire history of Haiku ports, if I could tell, because I've looked at them all. I've tried to apply them all. At least the ones I've got my hands on. Then I'll do a native make. And meanwhile, I'll have the directory here for user local open, so we can see if and when it starts to populate with Python binaries or libraries. And then, now of course, those configure scripts may cause it to not even want to go there. In fact, I don't know if I'm going to use those configures. The reason why I wouldn't, because I want it to build the user local. I want people to see it, build a user local, and people to understand that even though the shebangs are pointing to user local and the Python binary is in user local, it's still not building. I also want to make sure that I change, if it shows up in user local, that it's just called Python and not Python 2.7. Otherwise, it's not going to work right. So bmake extract. Then I'll do patching, and as I copy the files in, these are going to be Confederate patches. I'm just going to pave over the old one. And as I bring them in there, I'm going to say what I did to each one of the files. Oh, this file, this has historically been patched, and I'm going to do that. And the same changes that's been made historically from the patches of Haiku ports. This file, I'm going to say, this file hasn't been historically changed, but this is what I did, and it's like this other patch. Okay, then once that's done, and we'll just see how it goes. I'll also explain what headers I copy in and why, and to the modules directory, because right now what I believe is that includes that are in local repositories for some reason are not being pathed to the compiler. This is a theory I have. I'm going to compare the first run I do, and after I put them in there, to have any more of these things compiled. You got to go way up to see these modules. I'm not going to do anything about the PYOs or PYCs yet, because frankly, it won't get that far until the struct module builds correctly. And I'm not sure I'm even going to get that far. And then the struct module is only going to build correctly if it has the math library, I think, and the headers. Before I wasn't having a problem with the math libraries, I had trouble with the headers. And maybe in Python 27 I copied the makefile into every one of those directories. Just made a copy of the main one and put them in all the subdirectories where these things we're trying to build. Still extracting. Meanwhile, stuff trying to build over here in the mail. I don't know how many, if I got any extra packages that come in. So, yeah, 3 more. I got 25. Right here, this is where it has a problem. Okay, so these 3 files, basically, the way they show up, they just basically been renamed. They're not actually symbolic links. So I got to go in there and I have to rename them to what packages. It's Python 27, by the way. Well, I got fetch mail. That's cool. Now if I have cron, that'd be really nice. If fetch mail works. That'd be kind of neat. Fetch mail conf would be kind of neat, but I don't think that's going to work. Alright, so here I am in the source directory. Under tools and scripts. This thing has to be renamed back to what it wanted to be originally. That also. And this one. So we have a vanilla set of, an absolutely vanilla, unedited set of source. Alright, let's go in the work directory. Alright. So, we're at the configure stage. And because I've actually used all of the options from, I'm just going to do configure. And the reason why I'm going to just do a configure is because, one, it's not going to go to user local if I use those and they're successful, but 2, I've never had success with those change configure scripts anyway. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is not to show up successful Python build. The reason why I'm doing this is to show that Python observes the same behavior with or without the user local directory. It's a different quest. It's part of the puzzle, but it's not the overall solution. At the end, with some changes, I'm still going to get to the point where it says I can't load the module struct. I guess I could try to go. Okay, so nothing's happening yet, of course. Not trying to build anything. This didn't work, actually. This is the one I think I used. Yeah, so there's a lot. All right, then I'll just go into a little bit of I guess, ranting because I have time. What my perspective is on Haiku and how it fits in with other projects that are out there and what we've done in the past, what the results are, and what I think we should actually do. And I'm going to go by what had happened at the wine project. There was a guy named Andrew Hudson. Completely different topic, but it's an important topic. Because it does relate to Python at the end of the day. All right, actually, we're at our first error here, so maybe I could wait. Okay, so during this always happens. Basically, I could just go configure and add that. I'm not doing anything fancy, but just try to get this thing to build in the basic way. I'm not... my configure options that I threw in to get Python 27 to build were quite complicated. Or quite involved, that I remember at least. So okay, let's go back to the wine project. Now, I'm only saying this from the perspective of what I think is good for Haiku. Of course, what I think is good for Haiku is that it's able to use as many applications as possible, and as many people as possible can use the system. Not necessarily at the expense of performance or at the expense of being standards conformant, but I take what matters at the end of the day is that the operating system works well for the end users, works correctly for the end users. And so if we break a standard but still end up with that result, I have no problem with breaking the standard. The standard is a means to an end for me. The POSIX standards for me is a means to have more applications compile in Haiku. You know, in general, if you follow POSIX, one would expect that if the program was made in a way that is POSIX compliant, that it will compile in Haiku. The end goal is to have people use Haiku. So, or whatever. you know, there's circumstances that aren't standards, but I know for a fact that they differ in this opinion with some people that are in charge of Haiku, they're making the choices and making the system. My opinion is that just because there is no standard that says we have to do something doesn't mean we shouldn't. And just because there is a standard that is outlined doesn't mean we should follow it exactly. If doing one of those two things ends up in the end users not being able to use an app or a whole group of applications in our operating system, so long as it doesn't cause performance to degrade by any large measure, I see no reason why not to have some flexibility in applying the standards or doing things that aren't specified in standards, to allow more people to actually use Haiku, because that's the goal. Our goal, the purpose of Haiku Inc., even though it doesn't say that on the papers or on the website, and I'm not going to go into any more detail about those circumstances, but I do know what the purpose is. I'll just say that, and we're supposed to be, and that's to make a for public use a user-friendly desktop operating system. Not the purpose isn't to be POSIX compliant. The purpose is to make an operating system people can use. They could be the same, but they're not necessarily the same, and in some cases they're completely different. The goals are completely different, and it's just being able to realize what the outcome is that will allow an individual to realize what's actually happening. Besides just one isolated discussion, it actually has impact on other things. So let's get to, I'll just start with something simple. So there's something called pthreads that Haiku has built into the kernel. Some operating systems don't have pthreads built in, but that's a rarity actually. So the GNU project came up with a pthread library for systems that didn't have the pthreads built in, and they made a package config, just a text file, for those operating systems that did have it built in. So there was a complete solution set for both possibilities, built in, not built in, to deal with the circumstance that there's an X11 binary called XCB that wants the pthreads, and if you don't have the pthreads built in, you got to build it, is what the answer in general really is. So when it boils down to it for Haiku, to get XCB to realize that it has pthreads built in, it just needs a package config file. It's a text file. It's called pthread/stubs.pc. Has to be located in the package config directory and the library directory, whatever you have change rooted there. And before I go into Python, because it's done configuring, and then it works. So we'll just keep that in mind for the next point I'm going to make. Okay, so now I'm going to try just a vanilla make, and let's see if we can just go here and look at this. So with none of my changes, okay, we're going to see what comes out, or any changes. Haiku for nothing. No Haiku ports, nothing. We're just flat, just fresh. Yeah. So I'll do make install, and where Python wants to install naturally is going to be user local. So I'm not worried about this going to my boot home package directory. It's not going to do that. I'm not worried about it writing to the, it can't even write to the system directory anyway. So just let it do its thing. It's going to try to build, it's going to try to go somewhere where it's going to try to go, as far as I know, And recall and remember, it's going to be user local, which is the same thing as boot home user local in this case. So we'll let that do its thing, and I'll point the camera up there where the binaries and libraries show, because I know they're going to happen. Getting back to this, okay, so there hasn't been any complaints. People don't go, oh well, what are you doing? Why are you installing the pthread stubs? You have to port XCB over to Haiku. You can't, none of this shortcut bullshit. You have to go in there and you have to send patches to the XCB people to get it so that when it compiles, it detects the fact that we're running or it's not a port. You do that or it's not a port. That's like an app. To my mind, it's like an absolutist point of view, but it'll be relevant. So we get to the math library, and basically, in the context of the wine project, but the math library, as we know, doesn't just affect whether the wine source code will compile out of the box in Haiku or not. That's not the only thing, and there certainly are a number of source code blobs that become packages that will not compile out of the box because of the math library. It's even hard for me to estimate because I've just bypassed it. I would say maybe 1 in 10 wants a math library. Just saying that. 1 in 100 wanted a math library. Out of 11,800 packages, that's 1,180 patches. Okay. Pthreads. Well, I know of one that's XCB. There might be others, right? That the presence of in fact, all the X11, none of them will build unless you have unless the configure script detects that you have pthread stubs installed, and they can't just detect it by probing the kernel. It looks for that text file. And we seem to think that's okay, but what we don't seem to think is okay is making a symbolic link from libroot to make something called libmath.so. Let's see, what do you call that actually? Let's get that straight. Sorry, libm.so. If we just did that, all we did is just make one symbolic link from libroot and called it libm.so. All the configure scripts, so as far as I understand, maybe I could be wrong, but as far as I understand, all the make files and configure scripts that are looking for minus LM or minus LMath or something like that would have wouldn't fail there. We wouldn't have a patch to make. Now, what's easier to do? Make a symbolic link and include that with what you pass out? Or similarly, if you don't want to do symbolic link, making, if it's possible, a text file for package config to do the same thing that is done for pthreads. What's easier to do? To do the one change when you're making the operating system, or to have everybody that's trying to compile stuff that could be countless, version after version, making them patch stuff. What's easier? Well, the answer is obvious. It's to make the change in the operating system. But that's not what we wanted to do. When we heard that was what we ought to do, that was the word back from the wine project. We told them that that we weren't going to do that. We weren't going to ruin our operating system. And if we're going to port over wine, we're going to do it properly. Pthread stubs tab isn't proper. pthread stubs text file. That's not right. You got to do it the right way. You got to go in there, change that source code. So just for put the if defs in there just for Haiku, so you can find that pthread get going that way. You know what the wine project said? Andre Juilliard said. They said, no, piss off. They said we're not going to put a bunch of if defs in our source code. And if I'll just look at it, we'll go over this quote with Andre Juilliard here. Guy that makes wine. I don't know where is this. Here's what he says. This is back 2009. Juilliard says we can't use autoconf macros in wine GCC, and I'm not going to add in if defs for every obscure platform that can't make minimal effort to be compatible with mainstream. And to me, that is kind of in the nutshell what is wrong with Haiku. There's certainly some kind of solution can be made. If a symbolic link to libm.so is too ugly for us, we can't handle that. We're gonna just walk away from the problem. Might as well give up now. We gotta have a symbolic link in there. Might as well give up now. Or, it's gonna ruin this beautiful thing we've created. Giving up on it. Forget. I'm walking away. I'm not doing this anymore. If I have to put that in there, hell of it. I might as well scrap the whole project. It doesn't make any sense, does it? So I don't know what was going on there. And then we had one of our guys come over and lecture this Andrew Hudson about, don't go talking to project leaders about stuff we want. Let's go over here at Haiku ports and figure out what our patches need to be and just send them in. Okay, that was one of several issues with wine. Wine's not going to... No one's going to be able to compile wine without breaking one of the Haiku rules. It's that simple. So, in my case, what I'm doing, I'm just bypassing the math library. I'm not even dealing with it. But if we insist on, isn't a reasonable compromise if we're going to insist on not having a symbolic link in there, just do something with package config or something. But we're going to freeze to do nothing and make, ask the wine project just for us to change the way they configure their whole thing, because we don't want, he's not going to do it. No one's going to do it. It's a give and take. And so, there in the discussion, there are people saying, having a math library it's not a standard we have to, there's no standard to it. It's not a standard. It's nothing to do with whether it's a standard or not. A standard shouldn't dictate whether we do. If they're not saying that there is, but if there happens to be stupid standards out there, it doesn't mean we have to apply to it. It doesn't mean we have. And if there's an absence of a standard that should be present, it's stupid not to have it, but it's not there. It doesn't mean we should ignore it just because POSIX says. And POSIX was written. It continues, gets updated, but it's really written as a base for portability, right? Our presence of a math library or not symbolically linked in the library directory isn't going to make one of our POSIX apps not compile in some other platform. Because they have the math library. All right, so let's go over here and see what's going on here. It's basically saying can't find the math library. Now, I'm doing this vanilla. So I don't have the benefit of package source setting that. I'm not going to stop here, but I don't know the benefit of package source taking that out for me. Oh, you should have edited the configure script. Well, okay, yeah, I hear you. Fortunately, I'm not that good at doing that. Maybe I could have copied in the config file and fished out all the things I had pathed to boot home package or wherever I put it instead of user local and put them back to user local so we could see this. But I'm going to move on. I'm going to edit the make file and get rid of the LM. I'm actually going to put live network in its place because that does actually work. All right, so where are we? Now this isn't going to get rid of the math library in every case, but let's see. And then it's going to use the $LM $LM variable to try to link. Meanwhile, Python wants a library network, but it doesn't tell us that because it assumes it's in the other stuff. So I'm going to make this live network. Let's go back to our make. Now, do I even have the user? Huh, here we go. Here's our user local. So we have a Python 2.7. I don't think it has the 2.7 in the shebang, so I need to change that. That I could probably keep the same. Yeah, so here it is trying to build. I haven't brought in any of the headers that I usually bring in, and I have not changed the test underscore unicode.py file. It's in the test JSON subdirectory. I haven't brought in any of the patches, and after it fails here, and it will at some point, I forgot where it does, it takes a little while, I'm going to copy in one by one, but I'm not going to do compile one, I'm just going to do them all. But I'm going to do slower magic steamroller, basically, but not a complete magic steamroller, I don't think. I mean, I'll do, let's do them all one by one, and we'll just, but see, I didn't do vanilla build when I did this, the magic steamroll. What I did was, package source built it, and there's really no difference other than package source will set out the math library, will add in the library network. My weakness, what I haven't been able to do very well, is get a configure script properly configured to create the make file that worked for me in the end there. Let's see how this is actually going. But anyway, so yeah, I did populate it here just by default. And there is one script I've set up .py or something that says the above is not a mistake, exclamation point, and it's pointing to user local. Python wants to go to user local. Okay, so it's another case. We haven't made a user directory. Kind of like the same thing. I mean, are Python going to accept our patches that add in a bunch of if-defs for the absence of a user directory? Just for us? Just for little us? Now, the thing with the wine project, yeah, is if we came up with all the patches that Juilliard written, he still has to test them and see if they work. Look them over. But that's a risk. He's risking his, every time you put a patch in there, you're risking the integrity of your source code base. You think, well, he's got to weigh this. Am I willing to it's a minimal risk, but still, is he gonna, you know, weigh that risk or not? Is he gonna take the risk for people that don't want to make a text file for package config that goes in their system and is just there already, or that's not willing to make a symbolic link? Answer is probably no. I wouldn't. Because it is a give and take. Wine wants as many people as possible to use their package, their project. I would think that Haiku wants as many people as possible to use its thing. But the way the exchange went down, it just didn't work. So let's see where we're at now. Still don't have a failure yet. I'll just go into my solver. I'll set that aside. Eventually, a library directory is going to show up there in user local, and it's going to start. Okay, where are we at? Now it's saying that it is a number of things. One, this h2py is looking for a user include. It's looking for headers in user include. And that's where Linux usually puts it. That's where a lot of the Unixes put their headers. So, not that big of a deal. And then we got this error here, this -214.745.9069. That seems to come up an awful lot, and I don't know what that is. It's come up in other builds, a negative number that looks like that. I think that's dealt with in our in.py file. That's one of our patches. Really, the patch is just the creation of an entire file. I don't know why we have to do that, but what it's doing right here it's looking for a header that's not there. So I need to at least edit the h2py.py in tool scripts to get it to point to boot system develop headers netinet in.h for one. Now the region file that is also, it's in the library plat Haiku folder. In my case, I'm not going to worry about that because I think it's trying to point to user local. But most other people are, if they don't have a user local, probably going to want to change that too. That was one change I made. I remember that specifically. So let's go into this happy PY thing and deal with this. This is in tools and what is it, scripts. I was so done doing this shit. Telling the system that text files are text files. Okay. Now, number one, we don't have a user bin env. Number two, if we do that, it's going to point to the Python that's already installed, not the Python that we're building. And that's a different version of Python. And it also may have a different pathing set than the one we've just built. The one we just built is in the user local bin. So I'm going to change that. So user, let's see, okay. Now what's the issue with this? I think this probably could be patched to start with. I just forget it. Bin env isn't mean anything to me. Python 2.7. Next, I'm going to look for the user directory. Because even in my case where I have a user local, I don't have headers there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for user include. I'm just going to sub that out. I am going to give this the call to try to get this thing built, but basically I would still have this same stoppage whether I had a user directory or not. I guess that's, you know, a major part of my point here, and it goes against some of the things I've said before. I said, well, it's not there, that's the reason why it's not. I'm actually going to show it's not. So I was wrong on that. So boot home, there it is. Now actually it's looking for the NettyNet, and here's the deal. That would be in POSIX, actually. There's your INH. So that's what we're looking for. And you know what, last night I didn't do that. So I'm going to replace all of those. Just go, okay, it goes all the way back. See, the thing is I'm going to... Now, if I'd done something different with the configure script, might this have not turned out this way? I don't know. Just replace them all. Off of their heads. Okay. And just go back. So basically I'm just handling things as they come up. Now it still has a lot of these undefined reference. And they all look like definitions that were going to come out of Python. PyError, you know, we don't have that in our normal headers. If you had Python installed, you would, but that's for 2.6, not 2.7. What's missing is what isn't being pathed, as far as I could see, is to the compiler is the contents of this include directory. And I think that's not only a problem for Python, but a lot of other programs you try to compile. If it comes with its own headers, we're not picking that up. This is completely vanilla. I'm not using package source. There's nothing to interfere, no spec, nothing. Nothing's interfering with this, just a normal build. Now, Python will just keep going a lot of the time, even though things don't go right. Things don't build. And then it'll just tell you at the end, oh, well, we didn't build all these things over here. And I'll make a note of that. And then I'll copy the headers in, and we'll see whether any additional modules end up building as a result of simply copying in the headers into the modules directory from this include directory. And I'm going to take the whole content and copy it in the modules directory that is in the Python-2.7.7 directory. Still haven't made any changes, any of the patches yet from Haiku ports. I will tell you, I'm not here to say that they're unnecessary, that they are. Okay, so all those modules didn't build. Let's just see. If any of these end up building after. Let's do this. Yeah, I know this is going to stop anyway. Get this thing to copy the way I want it. I'm going to print this out. Because I like printers. God damn it. Now, the only thing is, here's another bug. PE doesn't print, but style edit does. So I have to actually save this. But I'll actually show you that. So, let's see. No build. No build for you. No soup for you. Yeah, this is okay. Probably the compiler's probably stopped. We'll see. Okay. Alright, so there it is. Styled edit. It prints. Hear that? There you go. There's a noise. PE. No print. So only be one job that comes out. Alright, so let's see where we're at now. Still doing stuff. Oh, it's copying stuff to user local. I mean, just like crazy now. So, I think I got a library. Bam, all this stuff. Whoop-de-doo! Look at all that stuff it's building. Now, see, the thing is even though it's building a lot of stuff, it's stuff that didn't build. All those modules didn't build. So we need to know why. Now, I might have it backwards. It could be those modules didn't build because of the test Unicode, test_Unicode.py file, and not the PYOs and PYCs. I'll have to look. Have to look at that. So there's something about the contents of end lines. It does an inline test /n. If Haiku or the file system doesn't, or something about Haiku that it doesn't use end lines, Unix has a /end as the end of a line. That's actually a character. So it goes the next line, like on text document, line 1, line 2, at the end of a line. Like when you press the space bar and press enter to go to the next line, that's what the /end is. This test_Unicode.py file that's in the test and JSON directory, it has those in there. And when I remove them, and changing them to lowercase doesn't solve it. I found that out last night. I had more success with my build. I had more PYOs and PYCs, at least for one. Now it's saying it can't import the module called struct. So, get my print out here. Now struct won't build even though I copy in these headers into the modules directory. But still, it's not gonna. I'll just look at this list here, and then and then after I copy them in, I'll see whether we have any difference. So basically, this set of errors here is a little misleading because you think, oh well, here's my first error. No, there were errors way up here. You can see we have undefined references and a bunch of stuff. But those look like things that are going to be defined clearly. They're things that were defined by Python, not stuff that we would expect to find in our own headers. Alright, so this, I know at least, it's a problem with the modules directory, but, keep going down. There's these all modules. First does the modules, then it tries to do these other things, and then it tries to move on. It tries to load a module, then use that module to make other things. Well, that's not going to work if we don't have the struct py. in there. Now there are other, of course, there are other patches to apply from Haiku ports, but on its own, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see whether on its own, but any other intervention. See, how I found this out is I noticed that the time module wasn't building. In fact, you know what? We can use GCC to try to build underscore struct in the modules directory. Let's just take a look at that, and we'll see where this goes. Okay. So that's user local. So there's our underscore struct.c. First of all, what's it actually looking for? It's looking for the Python H header in quotes, which to my mind would mean that it's going to be right here in this directory. It's not there. So what that means is that if it's in quotes, it's really, the compiler is really supposed to look. In fact, let's just prove this instead of, okay. So let's go in the modules directory. We got our doubting Thomases here. We're going to do GCC struct. Oh. Python H, no such file or directory. Isn't that a coincidence? Isn't that special? Right? And then if I copy the Python A, I'll tell you what's going to happen. It's going to say struct sec.h, can't find that. Eventually you got to bring them all in. And that's locally quoted. So let's do it. It's not finding these local headers. So it'll still have an error. Let's just get a file. Let's go window, select all, copy. And some of these did compile. That's the strangest damn thing. What the hell's... See, this get path compiled. But it can't find the Python header. Where it shouldn't. Why would struct not be able to find that? But get path was able to find it. Maybe it's something about, maybe it's not able to find, maybe when GCC sees a file that doesn't just have English letters but has an underscore in front of it, that maybe that causes it not to find the header. Are there any, let's see here, do these all build? Well, so I kind of messed that up. But up here, any of these build? Well, weakref build, but what's it referring to? It's got the Python header. I don't understand that. Anyway, so I copied in here. It's a theory. Let's see what happens. Now it's looking for pyconfig. That was what I forgot. That's important. That's going to make a difference on a few of these. That gave me the clue. Okay, so where is it? Here it is. Can't find this either. So I'd forgotten I'd done that. So where is? Here we go. Once I get to the point where I've done this before. So once I get to the point where struct errors out for other reasons, like those reasons. question is, where are those defined? Well, we could try to grep. Damn, I hate when it does that. The source directory, and let's just see. Yeah, I'll just stick with unknown. All right, so let's go back. Now, what's annoying is the damn logs have these things in it, but work it right. So grep -r, Alt V. Yeah, there we go. Does this come up in anything? So there's an abstract header. And it's talking about it there. So let's just look at this abstract header and see if it's actually trying to include something that isn't actually locally mapped. So I think that's what's going on. Okay, so that would be an include actually, but I have two of them now. Go back. Alt V. I haven't done this before actually. So all right. So this abstract H isn't being, even though it's in the same directory, it must be pathed differently than the other ones. And there's a huge path string here going on. So in the modules, let's see. Let's just see what's on this pi, whatever it is. Pi config. See if they got anything that's not in quotes. That's a header. No. Alright, so now we're going to look and see whether the main Python. If I would have done those one at a time, it would have been more apparent which one. I'm going to do something here. See if any of these don't have they're like Python headers, but oh my god, look at this stuff. Whoa, okay. Okay, so we're done. I'm going to look for aha. See, this mmap module has the Python in brackets. All right, so this is what I'm going to look at now. Okay. All right, let's go. Okay. Let's see. What are we looking for here? Bisect. Let's see if that has. Okay. There's another reason why that didn't build. Well, maybe because it just wasn't there. All right, let's just see what happens. Okay, at this point, let's see if we have any more success with any of these modules. Now, if I make clean, it's not going to hurt anything. It's going to get rid of the object files. I'm not making clean with package start. This is native. So it's just going to undo the builds that I've done already. But it's not going to undo the config. Now here's another deal. In the past, there have been the header file time.h. If it wasn't in, let's see, where do we have this? Actually, I think that was part of it too. It's the system. Where is POSIX? No, it's okay. So the sys. Let's see. Is there a difference? Do we have two of them? Yeah, we do. Now there was one compile that I had to change which time header we were actually pointing to. Now sometimes we just have it one refers to the other. Let's see. Is that the case here? You know, we have a minimal time header just says go look at. No, these are different. And they don't have. I don't think they're the same size. 343 kilobytes. No, okay, they're different. That's 192 kilobyte. There have been times I've had to change from one to the other. And there was actually a. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grep for. It's not times, it's time. Let's just do it. Okay, so have I cleaned this? Let's just make clean. Because I'm kind of no rule to target make clean. Oh, because I need to go in the next directory. CD. That's the root. Okay, make clean. We'll try this again. So now we get the header in there. Let's just see if we get any difference with the number of modules that build. I still haven't dealt with the test, and I haven't done any of the patches or anything. in.h, none of that. I'm just kind of following my own rabbit trail here. Now I know that they're not all going to build. But I want to see if there's any difference. Do we get a few more? Are we making progress, or is this just nothing? I mean, certainly one reason for the module to fail is if it can't find the header that it needs to compile. And these are just, these first modules, these are GCC compiles. The first thing it compiles in Python is the Python binary in the library, and then it tries to compile the modules. Even if the modules fail, it still tries to throw parts into wherever it's going to go. And it just tells you, oh, these didn't compile. You know, like you can do them later or something. Which I guess is true. Then it will try to do the PYs and PYCs. And with that, if any of the tests fail, they just won't build. So that's where the test Unicode PY comes in. And then we got all the other patches and stuff. Now this seems to be taking more time, honestly. But it could be because I got another, compile going on in the background. Let's close that. It's no longer on topic. This stuff's all still here. Does the presence of this stuff over here help? I don't know. Another issue could be that the shebangs are looking for boot home user local bin Python instead of boot home user local bin Python 27. Now, at some point, it starts complaining about the math library, I think. Can't find LM. So that's a whole different issue I myself haven't had to deal with. But what I'm mostly interested in is to see when it finishes these modules if any progress has been made. Certainly not all of them are going to need the math library, and the ones that build are going to be the ones that actually don't need the math library. So then I'm going to go into these directories, and I'm going to look at the makefile, search for -lm, and each one of these directories where things have, in fact, just the modules directory, really, and which is different than the base, and get rid of references to -lm if it's there. If it's not there, then I get a mystery on my hands. I could relook at the makefile, see, last night it looked like it came back. Like -lm regenerated itself or something, which is highly annoying. Now, it still looks like we're getting a lot of undefined references, but see, that's in a subdirectory of the modules directory, right? We're getting that in the modules directory. See, still getting some. See, what is it? The C-pickle C, C-pickle run, C-pickle. Whatever. C-spot run. Yeah. Let's look in this. That's the other one. Those are the headers. Did we do? Okay, I'll go back. Did I get any more success in all this? We have the ones that they're necessary failed to build. We have at the bottom. I don't see any difference. Okay. So why is that? Is there something going on over here in user local? Strange. So it's going to end can't follow module name struct, right? So I got to figure out what's the real deal here. What's it trying to do first? What is it? The math library here? So in the first of all, is there a makefile in the modules directory? We have a make setup. What's this? So that doesn't do anything. These are the math log. And you know what? I'm just really interested to see whether it regenerated on me. Also, some of these damn things. Could that be part of it? How about if we have haiku threads? Let's copy this thing up to the modules directory. Okay, so built the codex module. Did not build the bisect module. We got some inlines there, don't we? Ew. Okay, I've messed with that before. I'm not gonna. That could be it, but. Can't find model name struct. Okay, let's just look at struct here. All right, so now let's just go. Now let's go and look and see what I've actually done. Magic Steamroller. Setup.py. What did I do here? Nothing about how there's user include and all that, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to. I know the make file has a big difference. But okay, let's go back up here. Let's just do these parts first. H2PY. This is a patch from Haiku ports, right there. And what else did I do with this thing? All right, I know what to do now. So let's just duplicate this for now. Where's this thing? Tools scripts. Only change I made is this here, and oh, come on, the include directory. Didn't I change that? I distinctly remember doing that on camera. Boot. System. Develop. Headers. Okay, so there shouldn't be any other changes. There's a struct py. It can't import something that's not in user local directory if it's not there. So, of course, we're gonna make clean again. Okay, let's see what else we got going on in the magic steamroller here. Python directory of this BLT module. This here is some from Haiku ports. Where is that located? Python directory. So this is a Confederate patch. I'm just paving over the fucking thing. All right. Now that actually did have an object file compiled. Got the tool with scripts. Got that. Got the Python. Okay. Modules here. We got all these. Time module. Let's see what's going on with that. This is a variation on right here. That's from Haiku ports. It's an earlier version. Now I'm in the what? Modules directory, not the Python. Modules, file, paste, replace. Spood module. That's from Haiku ports. That's where Jerome Duval did. Paste, place. I'm just doing his stuff. Open with. There's the definition for Haiku. That's Haiku ports. This is. Come on, there's got to be something here. Pretty sure. Let's look for Haiku. There it is. All right, now, yeah, this is also from a different version, but the same patch. Haiku ports, so the socket module. And just in case I didn't do it, the header for it. Resource C. Yeah, this is straight from Haiku ports. Maybe a different version of Python. In fact, they're all different. No, there is no set of patches for 277. This thing here, I wonder if I've done anything. You know, I might have moved that. Let's see what's going on with this one that I've moved over here to modules. Or is it there just because I moved it? Nothing to replace there. So far I've applied various patches that have come in at various times, various versions of Python. This right here, I think if I look at this random module, it's going to just have the time header. Let's look at this. Yeah. There was some package that I had to get it to compile. I had to change it to systime. So that's the change in this random module. And there'll be a number of these actually. Confederate patched. Let's go into expat. Let's see, XML parse, and I think that, I don't know, I might wait on that. Let's see, what was the difference here? Same. Let's see if I have any clues to what I did when I opened this thing. Systime. And this, just time. So I'm going to change that. That's consistent with the different program I was trying to compile. The Haiku port says a patch for. And those two headers are different. They have different content. All right, so we're done with the modules. Now let's go into the library directory. Whoop-de-doo. What did I do over here? Site .py. Now I'm getting the impression. Let's see what this thing does. Haiku in here. Yep. So that let's look and see. No mention. No mention of Haiku. So this, I'm pretty sure, came from Haiku ports. Compile all. What do we got here? Now, for a while there, I had commented out struct, because the other ones actually worked. But I'm going to see. First of all, let's have a user going on here. Second of all, have mentioned Haiku. So I'm not sure what the difference is with this. It could be that for a while there I had that commented out, and now it is new and needed. First of all, how many lines is this? Come on. 229. How many lines is this? 228. No, they're both the same. So I don't think that one changed. All right, let's test directory now. Test Unicode. There's 2 of them in Python 27. I'm going to do here. Let's tell you right now, this is, if I don't do this, is this the right one? What do we got here? How many lines we got? 1709 versus what? 1703 versus 1707. Okay, I'm going to look for this N or an N. That's interesting. Still there, so what the hell is the difference here? Do I mention a Haiku? I don't know. This one, I don't really know. I'll leave it alone for now. Now these these are all going to be darn it. So I'm not sure what it does. I'm going to wait. Haiku. Test file IO. So that, come on. I don't think it's in here. It's a test file IO. File IO. Not in there. That one's clear. There's some kind of change here. I don't think I did that. I would never do that. That looks decidedly different. So I think an error might, I don't know if an error came up or what, but this test coding is definitely different. So I'm going to bring it in. You saw it. You're able to see it. So copy, file, paste. Now the multi-byte code, let's just see how many lines we got in there. I should probably have done that in the first place. Come on, multi-byte codec. I think, yeah, I already did this. I think it had, it's 265. What do we got going here? 271, and what the hell is missing here? So it's not to there. All right, so mine doesn't have this in at the end. So I got rid of that. So that's what it was. This line 20 to 224. I got rid of it. See, it's got the N in there. That's not Haiku ports. That's me. This Unicode. God, it's got more lines. All right, start from the bottom. Let's size them up. What the hell? Now those look the same. Those don't. There's your N right there. So I just got rid of the line. If it had, so if it had an N in it, gone. So how many lines are we missing? 4. There's your, okay, so come on. 1, 2. I bet you're right up there. 3, 4. So they were okay. So those. That's what I changed. So move that file, copy. Now platform Haiku. The NPY this is self-generated. Let's just look and see if it. So what I really want to do, let's see, boot, yeah, okay, it's got that. Supposedly this has been created by the header it couldn't find, but it still doesn't self-generate. Distutils, command, okay, these might have been important. I can handle 673 lines. How many lines? Extra line. This could be that I actually applied one of the patches from Haiku ports. Or I did this by hand though. I just can't get that sorted out there. Okay. Poor man's diff. Non-programmer's diff. Now what line are we at? 4, 6. Okay, we're getting closer to something. Wait. What line is that? 382. 382. So the line is lost below here. 531. Yeah, come on. And the extra line is just a little blank spot. Oh! That's outputs. What the hell's going on here? Turn inputs. 642. 630. What the hell? It's outputs. 642. Okay, so 660, 660. We're running out of space here. Yeah, it's the last two lines here. So this I must have got from Haiku ports. I wouldn't just make this up. File, copy. Did I already do that? What was I just looking at? Finally, sysconfig. It doesn't even exist. Alright, I'm not sure what's going on with this one here. Alright, so this actually goes up in the distutils directory. But if I was just copying the whole drive, I haven't used it. I haven't made it. Okay, so let's just try this again. Now, the only thing that could be left that's different if this doesn't work, I probably should have made clean, but we'll see how it goes. Is that, you know, if this doesn't work, then it's the math library that's not getting injected under these circumstances. But I've done a lot of things. Am I even done? I didn't go into the JSON. JSON test Unicode. Let's go back over here. Damn it. I just remembered I didn't. There's a JSON directory right here. Where is it? Is it? Oh my god. It's in the Python directory. I think it's a module. Is it tool? Scripts, where am I? It's under test, but where is that? Is it library? It's our library JSON. See, I got this. That goes here. Test. This right here. Test Unicode PY. All these lines with the ends in it I'm getting rid of. By doing my Confederate patch. Then we got a definition that's not used in thread C. What the fuck? You know, I gotta make clean. You know what I'm missing? I'm missing the make file, but I shouldn't be dealing with any undefined references because, you know, I haven't copied in my make file. I wonder how many packages I've built now. Fetch mail, fetch all this stuff. Get mail, I like get mail. And then once I get to work, then I could try, well, maybe if I don't do that thing over there, maybe it'll work. You know? The first thing I'll try is to see whether I actually need to copy all the headers or at all, or any of the headers. It looks okay so far. I mean, who's to say that means anything? Okay, and we got file included from Python thread C. Oh. Python thread BEOS header is redefining. So what are we in? PyThread init thread. See, I don't remember actually doing that BOS threads change I made. It's in the Python directory under thread C. Where the hell are we? This out of the way. Ah. Remember I changed the PyConfig? I manually changed the PyConfig to make that a 1. I didn't do that before. That's when I copy. Oh, make sure I copy this one up. PyThread, PyConfig, where is that? Wrong directory. So it's carrying over. Okay, I gotta go down here to this thing. That's an issue. You'd think that and I put this in 2 spots. Yeah, I don't remember doing that. So I thought I was just being slick. Apparently, I'm not slick. All right, let's try this again. I might have to redo this again. With strict prototypes. Yeah, this is redoing this stuff. So. Don't know how it knows to do that. It just does it as a matter of course. The compile channel. Compile 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. At your leisure. It's going slower. Seems to be a little, a little bit better, Any object files in there? Nope, not yet. Of course not. That'd be too damn easy. So we're in the Python directory, are we? Now where are we? Can't find the LM. Ha 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 ha. Isn't that just too damn bad? And you don't got right access to fix it. Ha 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 ha. And the only other thing I can do after this is make clean. Do a grep for minus LM everywhere. It's also, it's like it doesn't even, at times doesn't even have the library network. Here's my pickle module. That's what we're going to do here. And then when the important stuff comes, it just goes, Alright, so it's got a codex module. Ain't that a gas? Did that build before? Oh, it did. Wow. Oh no, it didn't. All that work has amounted to progress, I'll tell you. Now I gotta look around here and see just what the goddamn diddly damn hell. Let's see. God diddly damn. Damn diddly. Just have that damn math library in there again. Yeah. Got the word math in here. Ah, math. Oh, okay. Never mind. Math. Oh. Math. Yeah. Alright, we're okay. It's got the same old. I still haven't seen it announce it's failed to build these modules. Yeah, I almost remember LM was still in there. Okay, what do we fail to build this time? Python has failed to build. You got a damn Yankee in you. Let's see, here. Looks the same to me. Looks like none of that made a damn bit of difference. That made a damn bit of difference. Not a goddamn bit of difference. Not one damn bit. Okay. So let's see. So where is this math library hiding? It's not in makefile. Maybe it's the makefile pre post pre configure pre post pre configure post after party configure post pre. So, yeah, just wasted. Should I do it again? Should be on there for 8 hours. So the only thing I don't have is my magic makefile. This configure 8. Why the hell would a configure file? Why goddamn? I don't have package source. Help me. Is it still? It might still be using configure. I'll be damned. I'll be god diddly damn. Okay, so I'm going to use make clean. I'm going to copy in the config all these things. Configure AC. Make file pre-in and the setup dot the py. I'll do this from a configure. I don't think it's going to work. It never worked for me before. What kind of magic these things do. Can't load the module struct.the.py. No, that didn't build. Nothing changed, so this is just a waste of time. Control C, and we're gonna come on. Control C. Stop. There we go. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna make clean. Now we're gonna be make. We're gonna make. Do this again. We still have the new modified, super improved source code. All right. Alright, so one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to copy in my own make file. Okay? I'm going to do configure AC, which was 2 ports patch. I've just done it the way they did it. Same changes. File, make file pre-in. That makes a damn bit of difference. And setup PY. Now we're going to do this damn thing again. We're going to keep doing it until we die. And the only thing that's left over is the make file, which I hand edited heavily. Why did I do make and I didn't do configure? What the hell's going on here? Okay, make clean. How could I make without configuring? I just realized I didn't configure. How can I use the patches that were used in the use? Oh, I didn't do the IPv6 thingamabob, but maybe the magic configure AC is going to do that for me, or the magic make file pre-in is going to do that for me, or the in pre-make file, or the pre-make, or configure after, or configure before, or the configure sideways, or the configure elsewhere. We'll do that for me. Those are all made up. The only thing we have is configure AC, make file pre-in, and setup PY. So put in there, and I think it's probably going to tell me to piss off because I didn't disable IPv6. If it does, then I just add that stupid option. That's what it looks like when it compiles. Hello. Guess we don't have do we have a media player? What's going on here? Yeah, I gotta do the damn thing. If you knew about it, why didn't you just do it for me? Why are we not? Do we hit focus? What's okay. If you knew about it, why didn't you just do it for me? Okay? That's good. Fine. And something's going on. I have a lot of memories getting used up, I think, by debug surge. I mean, it's not responding at all. It's like, we're going to use all 4 CPUs to do a configure script. Why not? And a download. Because that's efficiency. If this doesn't work, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to have to figure out which one of these damn things makes the math library go away. And I'm thinking it's now in the math library at this point. Oh, now I could quit an application. How's about the debug server? Oh, there's some CPU power. I like that. We got a PyConfig prein, make file prein, configure AC, configure sub, configure status. Oh, confdefs, whatever that is. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my magic. See, now I didn't do my magic compile time option in the configure script until it got to the point where it was just about ready to link, and then it just went. So I've gotten past this point using package source. The superior man's package manager. I mean, I just get this feeling that you can be like, can we put in these things to skip the math library in Haiku Porter? No. We need a... it's kind of and take the live P threads out of your damn ports. You know, it's like that. If they knew that was a text file, they'd probably want to get rid of it. That's not a proper port. You know, just at some point, it's like we don't need to be perfect. You know, we don't need to work our asses off to say we're perfect. Because gosh darn it, we're good enough, we're smart enough, people like us. All right, what's going on here? This is going on user local land. Is there joy in user local land? Well, about 10 minutes ago it put some stuff in here. That's okay.
Yeah, config stats, same. Module setup config. I might want to look at that one. Alrighty then. Now, I don't remember doing this. I remember. I don't know what I remember. I was working so hard at it, but I don't remember. I remember generating a make file out of the config. I still had to edit it. It's probably, what do we get, an LDSO AIX? We're not AIX, are we? We are. Is this AIX? Is this, IBM make this? Did IBM make Haiku? Do they? Is it Unix? They convert it? They port over the app server? Didn't tell us about it? Let's see what's going on. So there's modules set up local. What is that? Set up config in. I mean, give me a fucking break. Set up dist. I mean, come on. Come on. Do we have a math library in here? I bet you. There it is. The question is, why the frick did it do that? Should I just sub those out for like, yeah, right. For nothing. Seek and destroy. I'll save that. Thank you very much. What's going on here? Well, it's puttering along, but of course the Mesa library here is having trouble. It's hard links. I don't know. I don't know what's going on over here. Looks better.
where we're at. Well, so the thing is, did it do the module thing and I just wasn't paying no attention or what? So they didn't do that before. Okay, that's in the main make. What the hell? Oh, because I didn't edit the main. Yeah, I got to edit the main make file because the configure doesn't really work. I mean, it kind of works. Okay. Right? It doesn't work completely. Yeah, like on the internet. It's in this one. I thought, I swear to God, okay. Where is that? There's that damn thing. Be gone with you. It's the main make file. Let's do it again. The makefile setup dist is newer than module setup. Naughty boy. Oh, did I just see that? Oh, did I just see what's going on here? My eyes aren't too good. Did I just see that? Got past that. It's completely slow. What are we doing here? Come on, module struck. Come on, struck. You can do it. It's still got some goddamn undefined reference. And I know that frickin' there it is, that goddamn math library. What the fuck? Now I'm gonna have to build this package source, unfortunately. Because it likes the math library. It really, it's got a math library fetish. And yeah, if I could make a symbolic link, you know, right? And what was my magic incantation that you can't do? Okay. What was it? Let's find out. Change the outside make file of Python 27. Have a few extra configure arguments over here. It's about to pass on all these different variables. Might have a difference here. Now, the thing is, that doesn't go there, but I saved it anyway. Let's see, work. What's going on with this damn thing? This works, so let's see. Let's make files, this damn thing. I like this one. I like this make file here. You hear? Yeah, this is probably going to be a waste of time here. I mean, there's a little more success. Let's see, it doesn't tell me to build anything else. I don't know, whatever. Damn things on goddamn make files all the time. This math library. See, I probably missed it. It goes by so damn fast. We couldn't build all these modules, but okay, let's keep going. Let's see, these are all, again, the same kind of reference. I don't get it. Undefined reference, undefined reference. No such include DBH. I've never seen that before. Failed to build all the modules you've been working to build the whole time. Alright, so next thing I can do is try to pass my magic incantation. I know I got further than this. That's for sure. For number one, I was using my own specs. I like that. Number two, yeah. So what are we gonna do here? Let's kill this birdie. Why don't we? I probably want to trick this thing into believing that configure's done right there. It's blah 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 blah. I might have to start. I might have to. Where are we here? This just isn't worth any. It isn't worth the time. Quite frankly. Okay, so we've got an extract done. Let's see. I don't really care. You know, I got. Let's see. Anyway, behavior is no different. You got a user directory, you don't have it. That's the point I was trying to make. But I really feel like building this. Magic steamroller. Let's get this thing here. First of all, I'm gonna put this over here. So it passes along my configure options. And second of all, it's gonna pass on my other configure options from my master make file, including the exclusion of the math library. Got all my patches in there. It's got the extract done, so it should not override them. Let's do it. Try to do your configure first, please. Thank you. This is not worth the time. Oh, the energy. Oh, great. So all these damn patches. I don't want any patches. Fuck the patches. If I made clean, see, that's the problem. Great. Should have renamed my patches. Well, you know what? Here's the answer we're gonna have right here. Here's the answer. The answer is I already figured it out. I just don't know what I figured out. Oh, it's just time for me to send up the, I mean, it's just whatever. Actually putting in, yeah, let's restore that. Let's go back. It takes this long to go back. Fuck you. Why is it trying to match the shit? Motherfucker, man. You make reinstall. Oh. Why is it? Am I picking up Diger's patches or something? Well, you know what? That is the answer. The answer is that the answer is I don't know how to get the math library out of there, and I don't feel like figuring it out. So, I've already done that presentation. So I think I've gone over everything I've done. I think the math library just isn't showing up. The only, I had, what were my compile time options? I ended up going ahead and just putting in make.conf because I thought it was a good idea to do the whole time. I had a package config path to my own, enabled shared, and I prefixed a boot home package. And I buried the library network in there. This one right there. But that was for linking purposes. I'm still getting a bunch of models that aren't building, and I would like to guess that it's the difference between the headers. I think I did use my own specs actually to build that. I'll build just like last time. Basically, I just saved the directory. So I might as well just stop. It doesn't really matter. I was going to rebuild this anyway, just so I have a newer package, because I remade library SSL. Extracting? The fuck? Why is it extracting? Whatever. Did I not make a full backup here? Yeah, my full backup says the extract stage is done. It says the configure stage is done. So why is it doing that? Whatever. So that's all I really did, as far as I could tell. It just doesn't want to work. It just doesn't want to work natively. So it would be nice to know if did I create patches for those things? I might have. No. Now Python, PackSource has its own patches that were applied prior to me applying the magic steamroller, see? So, it could have been those. I mean, the solution's easy for me if I want to help other people out. I just load up my magic steamroller file somewhere. People could download it and do exactly what I did, and they'll be on their way. we'd like to have a better solution, obviously, but I think some of the package source patches have something to do with it. The math library being set it out before it's applied has something to do with it. Most of the stuff in my Magic, in fact, I took everything from my Magic Steamroller. I went over everything in the Magic Steamroller. So, I'm at a loss as to try to guess how it couldn't end up, what I missed, because it would work. I already got it on camera, so I mean, why do it? Same repository. So, oh great, did this thing stop now? Yeah, we stopped running. All right, done. It's only so many things you can do to struggle with the system, basically, to get it to obey, and then finally you just realize, try to follow the rules that people want you to. It's not going to work. So.